kind of like niche genre. Someone's gonna just post it on TikTok and get 1 million likes in like 2 hours, and then everyone's gonna do that and then oversaturate it, and they're gonna play that song everywhere in the mall and
Yeah.
everywhere you go. That's kind of, and I mean obviously it's not that extreme 90 like most of the time, but at the same time
Yeah.
it kind of is, because that's just kind of how the internet is now. Everyone's trying to just get as much clout as they can, it seems like.
I
But
don't like
yeah,
what TikTok has done to
abs-
trends and shit.
absolutely,
It's
absolutely.
changed it so much.
It's turned it from like, yeah, what used to be like fun and you could like, to where it's like now you like actively want to like go against it, where you
Yeah,
actively
yeah.
don't want to partake in this shit because it's just so, I don't know, asinine. I don't even know a good word for it. It's just depressing, I guess, is
Yeah.
one word for it. Um, but yeah, I just yeah. But recently, I kind of started like breaking out of like the whole gatekeeping shit, to where now it's like everything is like it's like, why even be worried about that shit, or be worried about trying to be your own person, where no matter what you do, you still are you. It's
Hmm.
like, because my whole thing was like, oh, we're getting to a point where it's like we're recycling stuff so quickly that we're gonna perhaps reach a point where there's nothing left to recycle other than the step we just took, which is like a whole another
Hmm.
quote by what's his freaking name? Um, Dang it, I can't remember his name. But yeah, basically, "Death Not by Nostalgia" is like this one guy's quote, where it's like, we are nostalgic for like the past we resurrected, but then it's going to get to a point where if we keep going on this path, or it's the whole kind of thing is like, are we
Hmm.
going to run out of things to make trends? Are we going to run out of like music to make like new music? Because it
Yeah.
seems like
Yeah.
there's a finite number of songs you can make too that are good sounding, and are like
Yeah.
sounds we
Yeah.
can perceive, with our ears and etc.
Yeah.
and stuff that's not just white noise, you know. So it seems
Hmm.
like, and like certain rhythms and beats that actually sound good, it seems like there's a limited amount, and a lot of it is like, it's like there's so many different stories of like where like different artists will reuse the same like chord progressions or tempos or
Yeah.
beats from other
Yeah.
artists, and it's like, will we like, it's just exponential, all of it's exponential, and it's the same thing with technology and just everything in general. um you know Ever since computers
Hmm.
like became a thing, everything's just exponentially like growing, um
Yeah.
alongside tech, which involves as well, of course, like social media and trends and art and games and film. All of it is like kind of just getting, like conglomerated,
Hmm.
and it
Yeah.
feels like there's less and less.
Control over the
I think it portrays the everything I'm talking about pretty well. I made it back in November too, but I only posted it like 3 weeks ago because Billy convinced me to make it public, because I didn't want to post it
Yeah.
because it wasn't fully complete yet. But then Billy was like, "Oh, it actually kind of works out really well how it just abruptly ends as well."
Hmm.
And so,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's kind of like my other a lot of my other videos, where it's like blatantly really stupid up front, but it has like these stupid characters, and it's like a shit post, but it has like the most like deep meaning as well. That's what I do with a
Yeah.
lot of like my content. I've been doing it since freaking middle school. I've been doing that style for a long time.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, just like that whole kind of stuff. That was kind of,
Hmm.
the main message though of it, even back then, was how it's like, why do we have to have a core, like, why do we have to label everything? Why do we need to make a genre to describe absolutely everything? Why can't shit just be, kind of thing? That's kind of the whole
Yeah.
kind of message, where it's like, if you go around and you just oversaturate all these different genres, not only by labeling it are you kind of generalizing and taking away that personal beauty, that ineffable beauty, but it's also kind of like, I don't know, it like kills it. It like kills the
Yeah.
very uniqueness that you were gravitated towards it for in the first place, you know. Um,
Hmm.
where it's like, one of the analogies I used even in the video was like, imagine if you go off trail and you find like a spot where it's just like this little waterfall, and it's like a
Hmm.
sanctuary. It's like this like, all of it's just so beautiful and it's untouched pretty much. There's no one that knows about it. And then you go on to tell your friend, and then you and your friend enjoy it, and you love it. Then you go on to tell
Yeah.
your family, and then your family and your friend and maybe their friends come and enjoy it, and it's just beautiful, and you can like just have so much like just so much beauty and like and enjoy it so much in that sanctuary. And then say for example your friend goes to tell on their friend, and then their friend tells their friends, and then all their friends tell more and more of their friends, and then they tell their families, and then eventually the next day you come there, it's completely overrun by partygoers, and they've trashed the place, and they're blaring music and drowning out the natural, like just like wash of the waterfall, down over the rocks, and it's like completely just ruined the entire reason why you found the place beautiful in the first place. So now you have to go find another place to attain that same kind of beauty. That's kind of my analogy to the whole thing, but now it's getting to the point where it's like there's fewer and fewer special little spots that resonate with you that aren't already like being like screwed up, It's like hard to even describe it, because it's like it's on one side it's like selfish to be like trying to keep the area secret, but it's not really so much the amount of people that enjoy it, it's the kind of people that enjoy it, really. And that's what I came to realize, where it's not so much like you have to keep this from everybody knowing in order to preserve its beauty, but it's more so like there's just a lot of assholes in the world, and there's always going to be assholes probably. There's just a lot of selfish, like fucking, I don't know. But it's also kind of not that at the same time. It's kind of also because it gets oversaturated. So it's like, I don't know. It's just too many people kind of, but it's also the type of people kind of. And it's a weird mix between the two, and a weird balance between the two. I don't know. But yeah, it's I think it mainly has to do with people that don't really respect it or really understand its depth. And that's what winds up happening, where people will like, I don't know, people will just like hop on the trend just to be cool to other people. But by doing so, it's like you don't see the real reason why it's a thing in the first place. It's like it's like cultural like appropriation in a way, but it's more like artistic appropriation or some shit. That's kind of what it feels to me, where it's like I don't know, like the content I've made, for example, is kind of like mainstream now because of webcore or whatever and all that shit. And that's and now it's like it makes me want to like not, because now what it feels like is when I create stuff that appeals to that label, it feels like I'm following the trend, when really I've never followed that shit in the first place. I've always been doing my own shit, and then they named a trend after what I've and many other people have been doing, and now it's seen as fucking trying to like appeal to the algorithm or some shit. I purposely if you go like through my shit, so many of my videos have the most obscure fucking titles ever, and part of it is intentionally because I don't care if it's shown to people or not, because I'm not trying to appeal to the algorithm. I'm not trying to make videos for the algorithm's sake or to blow up and make money. I'm literally just making it. And I put it on my channel, so it's like an archive for my future self, where I can look back on it and appreciate it and be like, this is where I was back then. This is what I was doing. This is how I felt. This is what these are like who my friends were back then. That's what the whole point of my stuff really is, like intrinsically. Part of the reason, part of the motivation since middle school, of course, obviously, it would be a dream come true to be able to make this for a living, because I could make more of it and not have to worry about, I could put more time into it, and it would be like the archive, but almost every other day or whatever, every week, instead of me going months and months without making stuff because I get so busy with everything else. But that's the same kind of thing with that was the same kind of thing with my Instagram, which I never expected to be where it is, but that's why I posted. I would just post shit because it was funny in the moment, and then later on I can go back, look on it, and be like, oh look, this is where I was. This is what I thought was funny. This was the trend back then, or whatever, Now, like recently with my page and stuff, now it's more so not like what's funny, but it's more so just inspiration, just stuff that inspires me is what I post now. And that inspiration is what also fuels the stuff I do on YouTube or whatever. But I have not made. Well, the thing is, I actually made a video tonight, like an hour ago. I finished one, but it's not one I'm ever gonna probably post publicly, because the video I made was well, it's like, it was like a kind of like tribute video, that I did for, well, because Mother's Day is coming up, and my mom passed away in like 2020, you know.
Yeah.
And but yeah, but it was I'm really glad I made it though, because that also is going to act as a, you know, I can't even start describing in words how much I needed that in my life right now. But yeah, just stuff like that. It's all memories, all previous nows, but you don't stay in those nows because you have to live this now, you know.
Yeah.
And you don't worry about the future because that's a now. You have no idea what it's going to be until you're there in the now of that now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm always going to, what I want to at least consider is the best way to view, you know, is what I'm going to put forward. And that's what, you know, because so many people in life already think of the world as meaningless, think of their lives as meaningless, and people are killing themselves and stuff. It's like, I feel like me at least always saying like you know, like whatever, you know, that's like the necessary counterbalance they need to be able to center themselves and be able to really decide for themselves what they really want, you know, kind of thing. Yeah. And that's the thing is, like, I don't know what, no one knows what the best is. And that's why what my status is, why I even set it to that, trying. So I was like bawling my eyes out earlier, but like but yeah, that's all we can really do, I guess, is like, I'm just like everyone else, and I'm just trying to figure out the best possible solution I can. And the best possible solution involves me pretty much every day thinking about all this crazy shit and what is, like, what even is meaning, or how can meaning be anything, or is everything rooted in sense, or everything rooted in something beyond logic, which I believe, you know, it's pretty, it seems like everything's rooted in something beyond logic, where it's like shit came to be, doesn't even make sense for it to happen. So in that sense, it's rooted in basically meaningless, the meaningless, where it's like, but then again, you can also think, oh, the fact that anything, because that's the thing, is like, what even is meaning, you know, what even is meaning, because it can be interpreted in pretty much literally any way, because it's like, you know, it's like, that's why it's so hard to think about all this stuff, is because we're limited to words, it seems like. And it's also like, I'm trying to, that's kind of what art is like bypassing that limitation of words, and it goes into color and sound and taste, and, you know, like even like making food, you know, or whatever, like it's so many different
from Ratatouille.
Yeah so many different yeah exactly, like so many different ways to speak, pretty much, like, you know, or to reflect, because I mean, we're basically all one thing trying to understand itself, you know, and whether it is for no meaning at all, or whether it's for more meaning than we can describe, one thing that always really keeps me grounded, it's like, would you have rather never embarked on this in the first place? And it's like, for me, it's like whenever, if you listen like to your, like, that's like kind of what, like, a lot of like the button kind of like thought, like whatever, like thought experiments are like all about, where it's like, it's not so much on whether the button experiment will ever occur, but it's more so like what your instinct, your instinctive, impulsive initial response says about you, and then you analyze that. And so with that question, where it's like, would you rather nothing have happened in the first place, my immediate like thought to mind, without even like thinking, is just no, pretty much. Like that's like what I, you know, it's like, that's just like, and it's like the truth as well. Even when I go to think on it further, it's like, would I have rather nothing, absolutely nothing happened at all? Would I have rather never been anything at all? And it's like, that's, I think that gratitude in of itself is, you know, the kind of that meaning, you know, it's because it's like, that's the whole thing, is that life is not just, oh, it's all meaningful, or oh, it's all meaningless. It's kind of because we're limited as well to the system of logic that we're within, where it's like it either is or it isn't. But that's not really. It's rooted in like something deeper than that, I think, where it's kind of a blend of both fully at the same time, and like more than just that, more than just two sides, you know, where it's beyond like concept of duality. Because it's just it's like, how can we, because like logically speaking, you know, or well, I guess illogic or beyond logically speaking, I guess it's like, how can we limit ourselves merely to like the base fundamentals of everything, including everything you can't see or perceive, even perhaps beyond the universe itself or before the universe or whatever, outside of the like however you want to describe it, to limit it, like how, like at the base of all of that to just what you can see and what you currently know is very, in my opinion, like it's basically foolish, you know, because it's like it's like I don't know, because it's like every time you learn something new, your window grows wider, you know, like your perception becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, and then even if you come to someday hit a limit where you can't go higher than that, that doesn't mean that there's not more outside of it. It just means that you're basically placed into this, you know, this, you have a boundary, you have a border. And there's another common like kind of saying that goes where it's like, once you come to realize your boundaries, they're no longer your boundaries. You know, your boundaries are the ones you can't even conceive of, really. That's the thing, is like, how are you supposed to really come to a sound conclusion ever about if anything is objectively meaningful or meaningless, if we can't even really, there's probably shit that we can't conceive of, you know, that we can't see. And even if there isn't, say for example, all there is just this universe, all there ever was is just this universe, still, like, even then, it's like words will never be enough. Words will never be enough, because it's like, you can always ask, it's like, still then, if it's just the universe, why and how? Why and how is anything in the first place? Does it just, it just, because even then, it doesn't make sense. It makes no sense for the universe to just come into existence out of nowhere. And it also makes no sense at the same time for there to be some creator that creates the universe, because then where does this guy come from? Or this girl or whatever, you know? It makes funny. No sense. That's the thing, nothing makes sense. And yet we're still here.
During my meditation earlier, I was like thinking about these exact same things. I'm not even kidding. It's so funny. Because
it's like the root question, really. It's just why and how. Why and how. But there's no answer really to it.
No,
because even it's just, that's the whole thing, is like, that's why my philosophy for a long time was that everything is subjective, because you can view anything to be anything or whatever, and there's no, like, you'll never find the root of everything, you know. That was like kind of my whole thing. After I got out of like the worst period of my life, you know, pretty much, I was like everything's beautiful, everything is, however much meaning you give it, that is how much meaning it has, pretty much, which I still kind of think is, like, for the most part, true. But the thing is then I come to start looking more into like moral philosophy, and how it's like, so say for example, it's like now it's more so, it's like pockets of objectivity, or perhaps the illusion of subjectivity, the objective the objective illusion of subjectivity, more so like what it feels like, where it's like we have the illusion of choice. That's why I kind of lean towards us not having free will or whatever. It's like, it seems like if everything, but then again, you have to realize again, nothing is rooted in logic, not even logic itself. Because you have that question of how the fuck does everything come from nothing, or everything, whatever, it's beyond logic. Because even the idea of creation seems to have to come from something else as well, you know? It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And so for the longest time, I'm like here trying to go about it in a logical way. And then I go to realize, like, with moral philosophy, with morality, where it's like, what is a good thing? What even is good? What is good and bad? And then I come to realize, you know, what appears to be an objective, intrinsic good thing is like a step towards, or an action towards, in favor of this interconnection of everything. and like respecting the beauty, you know, and being like, you know, like kind of ego death, and like being beyond yourself by helping others, by loving one another, by loving yourself, by appreciating everything, by giving, by not like wanting and needing and whatever, you know, being completely selfless. That's what appears to be like, you know, across all the different like big like moral like normative like theories or whatever. Like you have Kantian deontology, where basically it's like, oh, the only thing that's a good thing is that if you can apply it on a universal scale. If everyone in the world did this one thing you're doing right now, would the world be able to sustain itself? And say, for example, if you like threw your trash into someone else's lawn, if everyone in the world did that, trash would be everywhere. And that is like, for example, that's one example. Another thing is like, if you murdered someone else, if everyone in the world murdered one other person, all humans would be dead. All humans would be dead. There would be nobody left. That's another thing as well. It's like, what if that's the good thing? What if all humans vanishing is the best thing that could happen? Because even then, it's like, what is good? It's like, what? Because that's what I always found so silly about all these like philosophers, or like moral philosophers and stuff. It's like their whole conclusion is like, oh, if this happened, then this would happen, and this thing that happened is not good. Therefore, this other thing can't be good. It's like, how do you? It's like, okay, then why is this thing good? And they never seem to dive deeper than that. Where it's like, or at least my fucking professor I have right now, that the whole reason why I'm even taking moral philosophy in the first place is because it's for business ethics or whatever, in technology ethics. So like, because I mean, obviously, if you're going to be one of the big innovators in technology, you want to like not ruin the world and treat everyone as equally as possible. That's the whole reason why you're required to take a moral philosophy class. You know, as a computer science student, but which I'm really glad. That's actually like so fucking epic that they require that, because you know, face of innovation is computers and stuff, and the people that are behind it need to not be like fucking Jeff Bezos or some shit, you know. So that's really good. But another thing, what is it? But yeah, at least with my professor, it's like he's like, oh, this is. Let me pull up like some of the freaking slides that he like has. It just like annoys me because it's like he acts like it's a sound conclusion. There was one time where it was like what is it? Oh yeah. So his whole and it's not even just his conclusion. He draws it from so many other like philosophers as well. But there was egoism. Egoism is a normative theory, and by normative it means like how you interact with others basically. Egoism is basically ego. It's like everything that's in self-interest is good, you know. And everything that's not in self-interest is a bad thing, or it's, you know, it's so that's pretty much what it is all about. So it's like, if you killing someone is in your best self-interest, like if they're gonna like tattle on you and like go to the police and you're gonna go in jail, and if you kill them they won't say anything, that's considered a good thing in egoism. Or it's like, if you like steal from someone and you get more money, then that's like better for yourself. And then his like his whole entire like what is it? His conclusion was just basically, oh, if egoism is true, then that means people can go out and just like, you know, kill and steal money, which isn't a good thing. Therefore, it can't be true. And I'm like, dog, you are still on the surface level. You know, I'm like, that doesn't go as deep as it could go. It's like, okay, but why is this a bad? It's like, if everyone killed each other and we all died, and then the planet was able to take over, you know, then you like go down that rabbit hole. It's like, and then nature continues. But then you have to think, oh, is it inevitable that if nature keeps continuing, that it's going to evolve into intelligent life again, and this whole problem will re-arise? So in that case, is the whole problem life itself? Should we get rid of life? And then what's to stop that from happening on some other alien planet where life can emerge and then intelligent life happens again there? Or is the whole problem, that's the whole thing, is like, and then you have to go even further back, where it's like, oh, is the whole problem reality and things existing in the first place? And then it becomes that original question that we just asked, where it's like, why anything? Or how anything? Or it's like, it always goes back to that root problem, or not really root problem. I don't like to say problem because it's not like an issue, it's a puzzle. That's what it is. It's all just puzzles, and we're here just trying to pick up the pieces. And so all of it ties to that. I mean, everything obviously ties to the main question of how and why is anything. And then that's the thing, is that we can't answer that. And so that's why we answer the smaller questions instead, because we can't answer the big question. No matter how many times we go through it, we just can't see that far out. And it's also probably for a good reason as well, seemingly, at least. That's everything is structured exactly how it's supposed to be structured, simply because that is how it's structured, because that's how it came to be, instead of being absolutely nothing, which is beyond definition and beyond words. It's ineffable. It's absolutely ineffable. And that in of itself is the definition, in my eyes, for beauty. What beauty is no words, is silence. It's the first sound ever. It's silence in the first sound, all this different kind of, all these different things, and by the way, the Om, it's said commonly during meditation. Do you know what it actually represents as well?
No, it is like rebirth.
Yeah,
I think
it's kind of like that, but what it literally means, the syllables of Om. You have the O and the M in the letter. It's just O and M. That's all the word is. So the Om represents creation. The M represents destruction. But when you say it aloud, the transition between the O and the M sound, that is what is basically symbolically representative of us. We're the manifestation between creation and destruction. We're the transition between creation and destruction. We're the journey between the beginning and the end. That is what everything is. And so literally the journey, it's not about the journey. It's what am I saying? It's not about the destination. It's about the journey, or that it's about the journey. It's not the destination, whatever. But yeah, it literally is pretty much that, where it's like, and then and what's so cool about it as well, that I love about it, it rings out like a bell as well, where it's like you have the initial hit, the initial burst of energy or forces and everything coming into being, and then the slowly ringing out into silence again. That's literally the universe, on a whole, the Big Bang, whatever you want to, and probably even beyond that. It's all kind of recursive. It's all reflective of itself, And then it's and then another thing is what if the whole point of being anything, it's what if this is not our true, how Gnosticism is that materialism is a bad thing, that this universe is a curse, that we're destined for so much higher. And then I go on to question, why the fuck, it's say for example you break out of this reality, say for example we're in the Matrix, or it's serial experiments, right? And we're all kind of like Lane or whatever, and we break out of this reality. What's so funny is that no matter how high up you go, or however many times you break out of this so-and-so prison, you will always still have that same ultimate question. And that's the thing, is and even the idea of a question is rooted in pretty much yes and no, because it's like a yes and no question. And but then if everything's beyond duality, rooted in something beyond logic itself, because logic and create, the idea of creating or the act of creating comes from something else. If something else has to come from something else based in logic, then it can't be, you can't even ask the question really, even, because it implies that there's a yes or no answer. But then that means something else higher would have to dictate that such fucking thing is a yes or no, or it just doesn't make any sense. And that's what really is at that point, it's it's either one of the things it's that I've been going through again recently. It's why even try then? Why even try to be anything? Why even try to do this or that, right? And then it's the whole, once again, it's why try anything? Why not try anything?
Yes.
Why not?
You can.
Because you can. Then that's the biggest and it's the Shakespearean thing, to be or to not to be, it really is just as simple as that. It's to be yourself or to not be anything. And it seems like either answer seems to be just as viable. And no one can really tell us either way. So it's really just it's just whatever you choose. It's like the ultimatum, the like ultimatum choice that we. It's kind of like what we make every single second that we exist, to either keep living or die, and and we are still here talking. So we have chosen to live every single time, pretty much, instead of choosing to stop breathing or to stop eating or to jump off a cliff when we were like, or whatever, we've actively had to choose, pretty much, or at least the illusion of choice. Because also biological functions and also fear and stuff. But even now, it's like I don't fear anything other than like others getting hurt. That's literally like I do not even fear death itself, kind of thing. Where it's like, but here I am still like hiking up mountains and not choosing to jump off. It's not even fear that keeps me from doing that. It's more so that I am choosing to stay alive simply for, in and of itself, to stay alive, so that there is a chance that I may continue to like tell the story that I'm telling, or whatever it means, because I don't even know what it means. I don't know what any of it means, but it still seems like it means something, but it's not a meaning in words. It just is. And because it happened, that's beyond words, it's beyond beautiful. And it's like that, and that's why it goes back into the other thing where it's like everything is seemingly subject, because you can define it in any way you want, and however you define it, that is its definition. But then again, definition is a concept. Like, of course, things being defined is a concept, and it's constructed, and so many other things that are just constructed by us, and it seems to be just filters keeping us from the real raw, image that we're searching for, and it's just so yeah. And then it's like, after you go through all that again for the 30th time in like the week, at least for me anyways, it's like, then you come back into that state of, I have nothing else more I have left to say. And then I'm going to just keep being, and I'm just going to, and then you enjoy the stillness kind of thing, like the silence. And it's like, and then that's like what, it's like, it's like meditation. Obviously, it's not just you need to sit down and you need to do this and you need to do that. It's simply just being. It's simply just that state of being. And it's like everyone probably has a different way of attaining it, but it's all the same, that same sensation, where it's that absence of anything, but you still are.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's like you're right in the heart of this dichotomy, where it's like being everything, but also being nothing. And you're right in between, where it's like you're connected to everything, but you're also not feeling anything, but you're also feeling everything. Kind of.
It's fascinating, because my it took me a while. I had to kind of like, I guess like train myself to do it in a sense, but if I go into like an extremely deep trance, I just go into this like void, essentially, and it's really, that's usually how I meditate.
Gotcha.
Or it's like a mind palace, or like I start off with a mind palace and then I go into a void, because it helps to have that like at least for me, it helps to have that place like in between,
Absolutely, I that's the thing, is I don't even for me, I guess I would also be able to describe it as like a void kind of thing, except for me it's like I can't describe it really as well at the same time. It's like that's just an approximation, so I don't really call it kind of anything, but it's kind of just sometimes I like kind of imagine like wings like growing out my back or something, or like just many different ways to like, it's kind of just like flowing with whatever my mind is like, I can't describe it. That's the thing, is like, it's like I just close my eyes and it's like I get crazy chills, but like warm chills. I don't even know the word for that either, but it's just like just no thoughts, and it's just just feeling, and then sometimes like it's like both not thinking about anything, but it's also like a bajillion memories going and washing over me and like reminding me or whatever, but all good things, no bad things, kind of, but but then to what I was originally trying to say earlier as well, is that what is it, how like I was talking about morality and stuff, and how it's how I used to say everything is subjective, But the reason why I don't really say that anymore, I think it's more so now a blend between objectivity and subjectivity, where it's beyond these dualistic words. That's the whole thing, is that it's beyond these, because we keep trying to separate it into one and another, but it's not separated. Nothing is separated. Everything is connected. So it's like you can't really truly separate these things out, such as like objective, subjective, meaning, meaningless, is and without, or with and without, is and isn't, black or white. It's all blended together. And so we can't be thinking of it in those kind of words. So for me now, at least, currently, I think of it as it's like a mixture of objectivity and subjectivity, and beyond that entirely, something even more than that. But what is it? But I especially changed my view on that, where I'm like, the whole reason why, with moral philosophy and whatnot. One of the big things that really struck with me, though, that really made me start like rethinking a lot of this stuff was, for example, like egoism. It's like, when you treat people wrong, when you do this or that, right? It's first off, let me actually like pull it back a little bit. As human beings, we seem to instinctively know what we need, right? Where it's like when we're thirsty, right? We need water. When we're hungry, we need food. When we are lonely, we need surrounding, we need people, we need connection. And then it's the same kind of thing with morality, where it's like we seem to have a natural understanding and instinct, or whatever the word is for it, and a natural knowing of what is and isn't right. Yeah, like an innate, intrinsic kind of knowing of what is and isn't wrong. Like when you do something bad, and when someone's like hurt, or like someone's crying, it's like it's a bad thing, simply because in and of itself it is a bad thing, because and it's not just that you feel bad, or that this or that. It's like that's another thing as well. It's like, what if it's all just based on feelings? It's like neurotransmitters or whatever, and like everything is just neurons and whatnot. But that's the thing, is that you also can't just limit yourself to merely just being chemicals, because it's like then you can keep going deeper. It's like, what are chemicals? And then what are these things? What are these things? What are these things? And then it comes back to that same question of, how the fuck is anything anything? You're still it's not just, I'm just chemicals. It's never just. That's why I don't like using the word just anymore. It's not just that. It's beyond just, it's beyond just words, but yeah, it's because it's not just chemicals. It's everything that makes up the chemicals. It's everything that makes up that. It's everything that makes up that. It's everything that makes up that. It's everything that makes up everything. You can keep going back for frickin' ever. And that's the other thing as well. It's like, there's, that's also kind of like why I love like the symbolic nature of like trees as well, because it's like it's analogous to like everything else, where it's like but for a long time I viewed it as like, oh, there's a seed, there's a point in which everything originates from, and that's what I like to refer to as like the peak of paradox, or God, or Allah, or the Great Spirit, or any of the bajillion different names you can call it. It's that same ineffability, that same, what seems to be everything comes from. But then recently it's like, now I'm like looking at the painting on my wall of like this tree between like the red and black skies, and there's like the white clouds right in the middle where the tree is, that I got specifically because of duality and like the peace, or all that stuff. But then you realize it's like there's roots to the tree as well. It's not just what's after the tree, it's what's before, and everything is like always just in this now. Everything's all right in this moment, even outside of time. It's like, if you think of everything comes from something else, but you can always ask, what made that something else? Then that thing also has roots, and then you can keep asking where those roots are from, and then they're just more trees. They're more trees with more roots to themselves, and they're not. And it's like, it's not just one thing. It's like the whole tree is one thing, right? The whole entire tree, all the branches, every single root and stuff can be viewed as a single thing, but also every single turn in that tree, every single branch, every single like leaf on that tree, it can be viewed as something by itself. It can be seen as its own individual thing. So that's kind of like what humans are, where it's like when you think of a person, you don't think of individually every single cell that makes them up, every single cell that's dying and replenishing every single second, or the
They are whole.
yeah, that's the thing, is like, it's like
Yeah.
the cell itself is its own thing, but it also builds up to make something greater, which
Yes.
ourselves as a collective humankind as well, we all are like that as well, where it's like it's and that's why I came to that's what I came to realize as well through the whole thing about as well, where I was like annoyed about TikTokification or whatever, you know, and I was like the whole gatekeeping stuff. It's like and where I got lost in it, and I'm like, where am I on all of this? Where's my individuality if everyone's able to just do the same thing as me, right?
Yeah.
When and just take away that, you know, it's like it's generalized, you know. What I came to realize, you know, it's like on every conceivable level there is creation. Every single level. It's not just everything's generalized, but everything's specified. On every single level, everything is interconnected, but also itself, its own thing, where all these cells are individually themselves, and all the things that make up these cells, all these atoms, are individually themselves. And perhaps even these atoms, perhaps even the same as us, didn't have a choice in becoming such a thing, but it still is. And even by just simply existing, it is a part of something greater, because this atom and all these other not infinite, but these countless other atoms that make up all these cells, and all these cells grouping together make up us, just one person as well. And this one person becoming, you know, creating a family, you know. Now it's this tree, well, this literal, you know, a family tree, you know, but like calling back to trees and whatnot. But it's like, now it's like, and then it goes on to be a community, and then it goes on to be a city, then it goes on to be a country, then it goes on to be a whole entire planet of people. And then maybe we go out, fucking go to other planets and whatnot, and maybe like we intermingle with fucking aliens and shit. And now it's like, now it's this life that's not just one little, you know, like single-celled organism in it, like one ocean. Now it's growing, becoming something bigger, and then all these things conglomerate into something bigger, and then it keeps going, and then this bigger thing makes all these new things that conglomerate into newer, you know. That's what it's all at. So it's like all these TikTok trends or whatever, you know. It's like they started off as just like one person making a thing, or a group of people making the same kind of thing, but they're all different. They're not the exact same thing, because if it was the exact same thing, then it's plagiarism, and then no one likes that as well, you know, because it's not really your thing. It's still their thing, you know. But it's like you create it yourself, and then they all conglomerate into these trends. They all conglomerate into like these fucking big hits or whatever. And then people always want to keep progressing as well, so that's why there's different trends. Why they die out is because everything's about progression. Everything's about change. Everything's always changing. And on every level there's change. On every level there's collaboration and creation. And on every level seemingly there's love, because the idea of love is pretty much intertwined with the idea of beauty, where it's ineffable and we don't know why it exists, why it is, how it is, but it still is. And it feels good, and we don't even know what good is, or why we need to feel good, or why anything. And so it's, if even beyond chemicals, even beyond feelings, it's still this same ineffability. So and that's the thing, is you can view it to either be completely meaningless, and that's where I kind of like bounced to recently and stuff, you know, where it's like where I genuinely just wanted to not be anything again. And like I'll have episodes where I feel like that, like genuinely, where it's like I just don't want to be anything anymore.
Because like I acknowledge like yes, like I should exist, and you know, I think that human life, I can experience it, I can get it over with, and I try to think of it as like, you know, human life. If I compare it, this is stupid. If I compare it to infinity, and you know, just like our scale. Like in the entire universe, you know, Earth is extremely
that it's gonna keep going
small.
on.
It's like,
you know?
So my human life is extremely small, and I should keep living, and that's kind of like, that's the only mindset that's been getting me out of I should KMS, you know.
Yeah, and that's a lot of that's what I like kind of like go back and
Mm-hmm.
think into as well, where it's like
Yeah.
like it's gonna keep going on without me. It's like, why do I need to be
Yes.
anything if it's just gonna keep being? But then you
Yeah.
realize it's that same kind of universalizability kind of principle, where it's like, if
Mm-hmm.
everything if everything had a choice and a say, if everything was able to be like, I don't want to be anything anymore, then there would be absolutely
Yes.
nothing anymore. And then
Mm-hmm.
then you have to question, is that is that actually is that what's supposed to be, and it's like you
Mm-hmm.
still can't answer that, but it's like you seem to lean towards, no, that's not how it should be. It's like there should be stuff. I would prefer there to be stuff. And so it seems like
Mm-hmm.
even on like a metaphysical level, even beyond like the idea of the universe or whatever, it's like,
Yeah.
would you rather nothing at all exist, or would you rather
Mm-hmm.
stuff to continue to be? And basically
Yeah.
that's what survival is. It's like, to
Yes.
live is to suffer, but to survive is to find meaning in the suffering. you know
Mm-hmm.
um and so that's the main answer, the main question again, to be or to not be.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking, that is the question. It's so funny because
Yeah.
it literally is. So he was on the nose with that. But yeah, it's like, if everything chose to stop being anything, there wouldn't be anything. And so it's like, then when you think it's like, oh, I'm just one person, I what if I just stopped being anything, then it's like, it just seems like it's just, like that's not the right answer, simply because I can't even, it's not even with words, but
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
hope I'm making like some sense. Like, I can't even
Yeah.
describe
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
lot of it most of the time. um but it's kind of just like a feeling, that you get.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
because that's, you know feelings can speak more than words a lot of the time,
Mm-hmm.
and that's exactly why we
Yeah.
make movies, to touch on those feelings and etc. But um you know
Mm-hmm.
it's, yeah, it's that's what, and that's the thing, is it's not like I've figured, it's like, ah, huzzah, I figured it out. It's that we're always
Mm-hmm.
figuring it out, and we may never figure
Yes.
it out, but it's that we keep trying to figure it out in spite of maybe
Mm-hmm.
never figuring it out. That's the whole, myth of Sisyphus type thing, where it's like
Yeah.
this dance where you keep tumbling down the hill and you keep pushing it up forever, and it's like, what's the
Mm-hmm.
point? But it also seems like it has beauty simply because it is, and because it's this
Mm-hmm.
dance and etc. Like, it's beyond words at the same time.
Yeah.
Both completely meaningless, but it's also all the meaning you can possibly conceive and beyond
Mm-hmm.
at the same time. It's both, you know.
I think this is why I love absurdism so much. Just like as a philosophy.
Yeah, yeah,
It really, yeah, resonated with me a lot.
yeah, yeah. Very epic. Because yeah, no, it really is. Everything is absurd. Everything is crazy
It
to be
is.
anything,
Yeah.
but it's also beautiful. Question mark. You know. Because
Yes.
there was something, because Connor and I talk about this stuff a lot, especially recently as well.
Mhm.
And they were telling me how, they said something where it's like, they said like they were like, the annoying beauty of life, and I'm like, that is a great way to put it.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
like annoying. Because Connor and I have like the same kind of issue where it's like, we don't like doing nothing, but we have the passion to do stuff, but we don't have like
Yes.
the sentimentality or the motivation to do those things we're passionate about, and so we're stuck doing nothing, even though we don't want to do
Yeah.
nothing. So it's like, it's so stupid, where it's like we
Mhm.
have and it's like the other thing as well is that wasted potential is like one of the biggest things that hurts, where it's like you want to do so much stuff, but it's also, you have to accept that you can't control a lot of things, but you also kind of can control a lot of things, and you don't know unless you try. But then also it's like,
Mhm.
you got to try first, and then
Yeah.
it's hard to keep trying when you get nothing, but it's also hard to balance so many other things to
Yeah.
keep trying. It's like a billion things at once, but it's also so simple
Mhm.
at the same time,
Yes.
you know. Um, but yeah,
Can I tell you a silly story
yeah, sure thing.
on how so this it is silly. It's extremely silly, and it is illogical. That's like the biggest thing. So it was really weird. I remember, so you've heard of the many worlds theory, right?
Yeah.
It was like TikTokified a long while ago.
Yeah, yeah.
So I knew of it before it went viral because, I was extremely curious
Yeah, yeah.
about it. I enjoy physics. I
Mm-hmm.
enjoy science and like exploring like scientific concepts and trying to understand the world not just on like a philosophical level but on a scientific level.
Mm-hmm.
Um helps me a lot like with handling these concepts and like I guess like putting them into words.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so um for years now, like I think the CIA first, which gives you like just that alone, the CIA doing it in the Cold War just like shows you like how fucking insane this is.
Oh yeah.
Because they did so much weird fucking shit like in the Cold War. But yeah, anyways,
Damn.
so um I there was a day where it's stupid. I bought this like um it's a very insignificant thing, but I brought this water bottle one day off like online.
Mm-hmm.
And I had it for months and months, and there was one day where I I had been toying with the idea of the many worlds theory, so the commonly supported interpretation is that there is an infinite amount of realities and possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like every single second we are like I guess in a sense like
In
um
a superposition. So it's like you
yeah,
do one
yeah,
thing or another. Yeah.
yes. And Marvel has their own takes on this, which I
Yeah.
find
Yeah.
interesting because it annoys me. Marvel's takes annoy me so much because they're so dumb down. But anyway,
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
rant for another time,
Yeah, yeah.
completely.
No, I totally agree.
um, but yeah, so this water bottle, I remember the original design extremely well, and I had it on my bedside table, and I
Mm-hmm.
woke up and the design was fucking changed. It was changed.
What the
It
hell?
was originally, yeah, so it was originally lines, like silicone. I don't even know how to describe it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I woke up and I was disoriented from sleep, and I reach out to my water bottle, and instantly I noticed that it's different. So there is no okay, so this is strange for multiple reasons that are obvious. And now I've considered this on so many different levels because there is logical explanations to this that do
Mm-hmm.
exist. But the main question is why. Like, would someone come in and change this water
Yeah.
bottle? Like, okay, um, I like that moment in my life. Just that the oddness of it, the absurdity, the
Mm-hmm.
suddenness,
Yeah.
right? It's like this theory must exist. And
Yeah.
I've been hanging on to that for fucking years. And it's defined a very large part of my life because I have spent so many years like and I still do. It puzzles me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
What does this mean for for reality? And
Yeah.
because there is no way to prove that this happened. Saying that, cuz it's not like I could it's
Mm-hmm.
it's so fucking annoying that I cannot prove it. I
No,
can't
I
go
totally
back
get
to
that.
that,
But that's the other thing as well, is that
Mhm.
intrinsically nothing can really it seems like nothing can intrinsically be ever fully proven or disproven, because there can
Yeah.
always be like, you know, like we
Yes.
don't know the full reason.
Absolutely.
It's like if I what is it? If I were to tell you like the proof that, oh, the sun is, or what is it? That's I guess for you right now it's
Mhm.
8 a.m. So it's like if I were to say,
Yes.
oh, the sky is not blue, or some
Yeah.
shit, but you can look outside and you can see it's blue, right? Then it's like,
Mhm.
um, I'm wrong, basically. Like,
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
but because it's like, but like proof. That's the thing, is it's like proof is relative. It's like
Yes.
it's so. I don't even know how to word it. Like, I don't even. Yet again, like for the thousandth time, it's like,
Mhm.
what is it? It's like, say for example, I say, oh, humans typically have 5 fingers. But what if it's like, oh, we're in a simulation, we can't see our six finger
Yeah.
or some shit? Or what if
Yeah.
it's like you can always extend it. That's the
Yeah.
thing, is
Yeah. Of
you can
course.
always extend the filter of reality, where it's like,
And like
oh, we're
these.
we're not seeing the full picture,
Mm,
and then, oh, we're not seeing the full picture
hmm.
again. Because
Yes.
before it was like proof enough for people that the world was flat, because you could see the world looked
Yeah.
flat, because when you
Yeah.
stood on the ground
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
straight and backwards, it's flat. And it's like,
Yeah.
for them, that's enough of a proof. And then you extend your perspective a little bit wider, and, oh, you can see now it makes perfect
Hmm.
100% sense for it to be for it to be round. Everything points towards it being round. And then it's like, what if we
Hmm.
extend it even further, and then eventually it's like, oh, our universe is based in 4 spatial dimensions, not 3, where it's like,
Yeah.
there's 4 dimensional beings that have been always interacting with us, and that's where aliens actually are on a 4th dimensional, spatial dimension, and we're just not. Yeah, or just crazy shit like that. It's
Yeah.
like, but
Yeah.
then again, it's like everything's crazy. It's like, oh, that's another thing as well. It's like people are like, oh,
Hmm.
this is normal and that's crazy. It's like, dog, everything's fucking crazy and normal at the same time.
Hmm.
It's all relative. It's all relative. It's all based on how
Yes.
you define it. Because anything being anything in the first place, us talking right now, us
Yes.
being anything, us being able to conceive of this and being able to know that we've lived a life so far is
Hmm.
absolutely fucking crazy. Because
It is.
nothing should
Yeah.
have been anything in the first place. It's absurdism.
Hmm.
But then again, it's also normal. We're also like conditioned. We're also normalized to this. This is normal,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
it's also not. But it also
Yeah.
is. You know. But yeah, and that's what's so incredible, but also crazy about just fucking everything. Um,
Yes. Hmm.
but yeah, and that's why it's like, I'm not basing what you're saying off of proof or not. I mean, what it means to you is what it means to you, and nothing can ever
Yes.
really take that away. That's like beyond words. So, but yes, continue what you're saying about the water
Yeah.
bottle, because I'm
Yeah.
genuinely interested though about your story.
No. Yeah. Um. So, anyways, the the point is, the design of this bottle changed very suddenly for seemingly no reason,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it there is so many unanswered questions about this. Was my perception of reality before somehow twisted? Because that would include, like, because I remember the old touch and feel of this water bottle. I
Mm-hmm.
distinctly like the materials were different and everything, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like, how did this happen? How did this come to be? Like, is it something wrong with my brain? Because,
Mm-hmm.
like, instantly when this happened, I'm a skeptic. I've always been a skeptic.
Mm-hmm.
And every logical, like, thing that I could think of, it just doesn't make sense. And, that plus the fact that, like, I that night, uh for months before this, I think that, how do I say this without sounding fucking insane? Um,
I mean,
like,
have you
like,
heard
as I
our
said.
conversation so far?
Yeah.
Most people would think it's
Yeah.
insane, but
Yeah.
what were
So,
you saying?
okay, so, uh so with the many worlds theory, the leading theory, or like what we can do with that theory,
Mm-hmm.
is we can quantum jump in a sense, which is
Mm-hmm.
very, like, so, like quantum immortality and that
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's essentially like how it's achieved. You quantum jump to a different reality, or like you change your, because, like, how it makes sense to me is you are just changing your perception of reality,
Mm-hmm.
and, like, that's it. And, like, your perception of reality is like, um you could say this a lot better than I can, but your perception of reality is like, essentially everything.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
and yeah, that's how it's been explained to me, and it's just, I don't know, because that, like as I said, that water bottle
Yeah.
changing has been like,
Mm-hmm.
it's led me to question so many things about my existence,
Mm-hmm.
about, like, how I perceive reality. and yeah, it's it's terrifying to me, but also very exciting.
Yeah.
The prospect of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but no, yeah, I just, cause like this can go, if this is true, if that theory about the world is real, which, according to my experiences, um, like, because obviously we cannot prove the many worlds theory. That's,
Mm-hmm.
that's the whole thing with a lot of theories, like with string theory too.
Yeah, yeah.
We cannot prove string theory because we don't, like, the technology that we need to prove that is like fucking, it's so far into the
Yeah.
future, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just it's fascinating to me, and frustrating
Yeah.
because I cannot prove these things.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, um, yes.
Yeah, no, yeah, no, that's all freaking
Mm-hmm.
awesome stuff though.
But no,
um
yeah, it pisses me off because I don't know, it's just been on my mind for like
yep.
years now,
Mm-hmm.
like whenever I think about like like I go to that event,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it fascinates me, and there's still, like, I have so many questions that spawned from that single event, and it pains me that, like, I won't be able to answer any of them,
Yeah.
you know? But also another unrelated rant is the TikTokification of quantum physics pisses me off beyond words.
Yeah, yeah.
Why? Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Oh my god, guys,
Because
Glenna.
it's so, like, yeah, because
So
it's
yeah.
so complex. It is,
And it's
and
dumbed down
they
like
dumb.
fucking
Yeah,
crazy. They're
yeah,
like,
it
okay,
is.
guys, did you know that you can conjure stuff with your mind? Let's, or
Yes.
it's like, but where it's kind of like not just like the TikTokification, but also the pseudoscienceification of it,
Yes,
or whatever.
absolutely.
Where
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yep. That's yep. I completely agree with that shit. It's just
Mm-hmm.
so, uh, so
Because people
it's
spread so much fucking misinformation
so much
about it.
bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it is. But no, yeah, I think, like, my main my main drive for um living and
Mm-hmm.
continuing to live, like,
Is to try and
in,
figure that out.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
what the fuck?
That's
You know?
basically that's basic. Yeah, pretty much the
Hmm.
same kind of shit for me. It's like that
Because it
and like everything else we have
yeah.
yet to know yet.
For me,
And
it's
just the
also the
ultimate.
fear that, like, sorry, I just wanted to say that
Mm-hmm.
um there's still a lot of questions that have, that aren't answered about, like, what human consciousness is and where that comes
Yeah, yeah.
from. And I have a lot of fears about, like, if I die, I will technically, I will go unconscious permanently, and that kind of, like, will I be able to change my perception of reality
Mm-hmm.
if if I am dead, or can it be only done, I don't know if I'm making any fucking
No,
sense at
I
all.
completely get. I completely get. And
Yeah, yeah,
that's what I came to, like years ago, where I
yeah.
kind of just had to come to terms with any potential possible outcome that happens up,
Mhm.
and that's kind of, I guess, it's, I mean, I guess one word is for it is faith, but I don't like using that word because that's like
Mhm.
blind,
Yeah.
usually associated with being just blind. But it's more so the word hope, I guess. Is
Yes.
That's one of the things that's always been fundamental for human beings. It's like that's kind of all we really have for the most part, is just we can hope that it is in the best possible way it can wind up being. And so, but what I
Mhm.
came to do is I came to, if I go on to, this is why, like, I thought so much about that stuff. It's because it's like, and that's why I came to, like, be able to realize everything's like, beautifully constructed or whatever. At least that's how I
Yeah.
like to view it. Where it's like, even if I go on after I'm dead, where I am
Mhm.
completely,
Yes.
because that's the thing, is you can't even experience nothingness. You just are it like that's like the whole kind of thing where it's like if you had no eyes, people think you'll see like black or whatever. You don't see anything. It's you can't even you can't even conceive of it unless if you are actively perceiving that reality, you know. And that's what's so nuts, you know. It's you don't even see blackness. You don't even it's like trying to see out of your knee or some shit. It's like it's like you can't even really, you can maybe imagine it, but it's like imagine if you were born not even seeing anything. It's like you don't have anything else to go off of, because if you're trying to say for example you look in the corner of your room and you try imagining what it looks like looking from that perspective, you go off so many other things that you've already experienced and observed. Like for example you can look around the room and be like, or you already have like you know, you already, what's the word for it? Well, I mean, you know, the room is still there, and you've seen it enough, probably, for the most part, where you can not be looking at it directly and imagine and picture what the rest of the parts of it look like, and from that angle and stuff, and etc. And you know what you're wearing, what you look like, the pose you're doing and stuff, so you can imagine all of that. But if you never had that observation to begin with, you would not be thinking of it like a picture. You would be thinking of it as in like, what am I hearing from this position? What am I maybe feeling from this position? You know, it's different senses. But then imagine having no stimuli at all. No stimuli. Then it truly is. That is basically what it was before we were born. No stimuli. Where you are timeless. That's why it's like everything seemed like time started when you were born, but you know that's not true because there were people that were born before you, and so many things happened before you were born, you know, but you didn't experience any of it. It seems like the start of time literally is when you were born, because you do not experience beforehand. So if death is that, where once you die, you go on and you are back to that timeless state where you can't even conceive of what you just went through or the life you lived or whatever, it seems like it's meaningless, right? It seems like there was no point in it happening. If you completely even forget and you are not even anything to remember or anything after you are dead. The thing is like, that's what ties back into the whole kind of thing where it's like surviving in face of being nothingness, where everything is immortal instead of being nothing. Where it's, but that it's like, it's because I mean time and space are intertwined, and if that comes from something else, that means that something else is of higher authority than space and time, so outside of time, so not dictated by time, which I talk about this, you know, many times, but it's like, logically speaking, you know, it is outside of time, so it is a singularity that we seem to be encapsulated within, which seems to indicate that everything is immortal, no matter even if the universe ceases to exist, because it's still outside of that bubble of time, because time comes from it or whatever. It's beyond like logic, it's beyond reasoning, it's beyond conception. But if you go on to be absolutely nothing, that will never take away the fact that you existed, that you once existed, that you once were something. And so in time, you know, we exist in time, but we belong to eternity. That's like one of the quotes I like to say a lot. But it really is the case, you know. It's like we are going along in time, but once again, like I said earlier, how foolish it is to limit the fucking nature of everything ever beyond what you can see, based on just what you can see, you know. But yeah, it's but that's kind of like what my whole kind of thing is, that even if I go on to not even experience anything after I'm dead, I will always have been something, and that's basically immortality in a sense. But and that's the thing, is like, it's like the best of kind of both worlds, where if you go on to be absolutely nothing after you die, then not only are you like an immortal story, but you also don't have because I mean, if you actually lived forever in this universe, say for example you actually lived forever, then it's like no one wants to live forever, because then everyone you love dies, and then you go on to be absolutely, you know, you're completely alone, and you're floating in space after the Earth blows up and the sun blows up, and then eventually, you know, there's just black holes left. They sucked out all the light, and then eventually with you know fucking Hawking radiation, even the black holes will be gone, and then it'll be a heat death of the universe, and then you'll just be there completely alone, completely nothingness, timeless. And your perception of time is basically going to be like that of a photon, where you are timeless, where you experience no time. But yeah, that's why you don't, you don't want to live forever, but you also kind of are always, you are living forever every single second, in a way. Because even if you existed, because it's also not, your value and your meaning is not even based on how long you live or how big you are in the system, how much of a role you play or whatever, It's the fact that you were anything instead of being nothing that already grants you an immortal, ineffable degree of meaning and purpose and etc. They're all buzzwords for the same kind of ineffable, kind of just ultimate greatness, kind of, where it's that is divinity, basically. That is what God is, in my eyes, at least. God is everything, because everything is something instead of being nothing. Somehow, in some way, as absurd as it is, everything still is and continues to be, and that is divine. That is already incredible, and that's why I say heaven is now, because right now is, it basically, it's in it, however you perceive it. If you perceive it to be heaven, then it's heaven, Then it's, if you perceive all the good things in life to be, everything to be beautiful, everything to be just how it's supposed to be, then it is heaven. And it's simple as that. So, to tie it back to what I was saying, and all this, for me saying that stuff, sorry I go down like a lot of rabbit holes.
You're good.
I feel like I always have like that kind of like OCD kind of thought process that I've had since a kid, where it's like I need to fully explain myself or something, or else I might leave out parts that I want to say. Or whatever, but it's even if I go on to be nothing, absolutely nothing, I've already won. Basically, everyone's already won, because they exist, and they will someday have existed. But if you were looking from a lens outside of time, those stories have always been, and so we have always been. It's not that we lived and died; it's that we were a journey, we were an experience that will forever have been and be and can continue being, or whatever, which is just, once again, beyond comprehension, but also very beautiful. But if I go on to something after death, I think whatever I will be, whatever I come to be after I'm dead, it will be, once again, exactly the way it's supposed to be. Much like me being anything right now, and me coming on this journey to even be able to understand these things. And the same thing goes for you as well, because you're also incredibly intelligent and even able to, because like 99.99999% of people in the world never even, well, not that many, but like 99% of people in the world don't even seem to ever even care to think about this shit, even though it's so obvious. That's why like the TikTok shit is so goofy to me, because it's like, bruh, you haven't been thinking about this your whole life as well. Like, are you kidding? But yeah, but that's the thing, is like, if you die and you go to be something else, we'll face it the same way we faced life here. We'll have everything we need, pretty much. It'll all work out exactly the way it's supposed to, and that's what that hope is that everything is structured in the best way it possibly can be, which I think is the case. So, or at least that's, and the reason why I think that's the case is because that's what I hope is the case, and that's all I can do, is that I hope that's the case, and I keep trying in that hope, pretty much. Keep going and keep being, because that's what that hope is that there's, a reason to it all. And if there's not a reason to it all, then when I die, then I guess it's solved, But then it's like, might as well enjoy it while it lasts, because if it has no meaning, then okay, fine. If it does have meaning, then at least you can definitely say you've lived it the best way you can possibly have lived it, given the choices and opportunities you had, and etc. If there's even free will, perhaps it's all predetermined, and we're just watching a movie, then at least, hey, it's a kind of cool movie, I guess.
It is, yeah.
So, but yeah, that's really probably as far as we'll ever come to know, probably, like, ever. And I think that's also kind of beautiful, but also very, as you said before, very frustrating. Frustrating, But if you come to accept that, oh, I may never know, then that's where that like
Mhm.
whole kind of nirvana kind of thing comes from. Is just
Yeah.
accepting all that in general, and then you have that peace because you're not, attached to it anymore. Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
what's more so you're not what is it? Suffering over it. You're attached to everything. You're connected to everything, but it's more
Of
so like
course.
the longing, the lust, or whatever a good word is for it, for that knowledge.
Mhm.
Because it's like, even if
Yeah.
you, because then it's like you have to ask, it's like, even if I did know these things, first off, would I want to know these things? Like,
Yes.
and second off, if I did know these things, would it change anything? You know?
Mhm. Yeah.
I mean, for a lot of things, if you knew the fucking fundamental reason for everything, obviously it would change, everything. But
Yeah. Yeah.
in a sense of how you are, but does it change your situation? Does it change what you can do? And
Mhm.
and really, it seems like it always comes back to just being, Because even if you did know why everything is, that doesn't change the fact that everything is.
Yes.
It's like,
Yes.
or if you knew how and why, uh, it's like, say for example, you knew that everything came into existence, because it's beyond logic. I can't even fucking come up with a logical explanation for it because it's beyond logic. But say for example, say it's just all poofed into existence, and say
Yeah.
that it's just the universe. Say it's just our
Mhm.
universe, and it came into being. So space and time intertwine. That means it is going along like a time like kind of path. And then
Yes.
say for example, there's no afterlife, and
Mhm.
when the universe dies and it explodes, then it goes back to being absolutely nothing, and then maybe eventually it'll poof back into existence again,
Mhm.
which is basically the main current scientific theory, the Big Bang
Yeah.
looping and shit. But say, for example, it didn't even loop. Say, like, what seems
Mhm.
to be the worst case scenario for us, where it literally happens one time ever. It
Yeah.
still seems to have all the same kind of,
Yes.
where it's like, it's analogous even to our lives themselves, where we happen one time and never again.
Yeah.
And then this whole Big Bang just happens, and it never happens again. It's like the whole kind of saying, it's like if a tree falls in the, if it makes a sound falling in the forest but
Mhm.
no one's around to hear it, did it actually fall? The answer is
Yeah.
yes, but maybe only the tree itself experiences itself falling,
Mhm. Yeah.
much like our universe, and then we fall along with it, and when it goes out to fucking, whatever it does, heat, death, etc., or the big, what's it called, the big collapse, or the big whatever the fuck it is.
Mhm. Yeah.
But yeah, it's, or like vacuum decay or whatever it is,
Mhm.
where it all just ceases to exist entirely super quickly. But yeah, the thing is just like, it's like we both don't know, but we also do know, kind of. Where it's
Mhm.
like, even
Yeah.
if even if that was the case, even if we knew for a fact, if we were the only things that could even know that there wasn't even
Mhm.
like a conscious God or anything outside of us, we are the only things that have intelligence ever. This
Mhm.
bit that
Yeah.
the universe is only one thing, and then it'll never happen again anyways. That, wouldn't that be even more of a reason to do all the things you care about and love to do in life more? Wouldn't that be
Yeah.
even more of a reason to make the most of it, because it'll never
Mhm.
happen again?
Yeah.
And I think that's even seemingly more beautiful. It's like crazy, isn't it? Where it's like,
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
even in like the seemingly worst case scenario, even that seems like enough of a reason to be, you know. So
Mhm.
I think that's pretty cool. And also, very epic song playing right now, from
Mhm.
fucking Cyberpunk, like the anime. It's so real.
Yes.
Uh, Very epic song. But yeah. Yeah. And now I've reached the point in the conversation where it's like, I have nothing else I can say because there's not really anything else to say, you know?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah. If there's anything you want to talk about it, though, I'd be
Mm.
very happy to listen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. I don't think I have anything like too too crazy to say.
That's
I
all
guess
good.
I feel kind of mm, like I definitely feel like that one the water bottle event has
Yeah, yeah.
like it's made me very uh mm, like close-minded in a sense
Hmm.
because like I'm very like as I said before, like I pondered
You're passionate about it.
on this.
You're like
Yeah.
honed in on it. Yeah. Yeah, no, I
And
totally get
I'm
that.
hoping it's also that like because okay, for one I've spent a lot of time on this and because I've spent so much time
Hmm.
on it, it's like that fact alone makes me want to be like it like I want it to be real. But also I
Hmm.
think um like I've come to understand the many worlds theory and I've like
Hmm.
lived my life with like this is how reality works. Like
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is how it is. And like that single event it just 100% proves
Yeah,
which it
yeah.
doesn't. Not really. In my mind uh
But once
it's
again, like you
it's
said, it's about how you perceive reality. Pretty much.
yes.
That is your
Yeah, yeah.
reality, however you perceive it.
Hmm.
And no one can take that. That's the
Yeah,
thing. No
yeah.
one knows any better. Everyone else is doing the same thing. No one knows any
Yeah,
better.
yeah.
No one can tell you otherwise, It's
Hmm.
like, yeah. So, very, very epic.
Hmm. But
Um,
yeah, I feel like it's made me kind of mm,
it's,
like
I don't
just
think,
close-minded.
I personally wouldn't say closed-minded because
Hmm.
but like what I said earlier, I think it's more so
Yeah,
I think it's more so passion, and that's what speaks to you the
yeah.
most, and that's what
Yes.
exactly what you should pursue because it speaks to you the most, and that's
Yes.
why you're so narrow-minded on it because that's what that's what you want to pursue. That is your purpose, kind of thing,
Yeah.
and obviously not just one purpose, but that is one of
Of
the
course.
big purposes in your how you perceive reality,
Yes.
and it is
Hmm.
in and of itself that is the reason why you should pursue it because you want to
Yes.
pursue
Hmm.
it and because it
Yeah, yeah.
means something to you, and that's what's once again the whole conversation we started, it's like meaning doesn't seem to have a meaning.
Yeah.
Shit is absurd, shit is crazy, but we're still here doing stuff when it doesn't even seem to
Of
make sense
course.
to do anything or for us
Yeah.
to talk about this, to even try, but we're still doing that,
Hmm.
and that means something probably, and that's what we have hope for, is that we hope that it has meaning, and that's why we keep doing
Hmm.
stuff that we think has meaning,
Yes.
and the
Hmm.
best kind of meaning, because we also have hope that there's a good way to be, or a better way to be, view the world, um, but yeah,
Hmm.
but Josh, are you is that what you think you're gonna try? You want to try pursuing in like academics and stuff?
Quantum physics? I mean,
Yeah, I mean
fuck,
that's
I
the
don't know, because I would like to, but am I intelligent enough?
that's the
No.
thing. No, 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 no.
Mhm.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Intelligence. It's not based on how well you do in like school and stuff, right? And
Yeah.
because a lot of how you view certain subjects and stuff, it's like it's first impressions. It's like how you view other
Yeah.
people. It's based on your first impressions of them. If
Hmm.
you get so many shitty teachers, or even really good teachers for everyone else, and then for you it doesn't mix well with you, everything's
Hmm.
personal. Everything's relative, and it's like
Yes.
it's not like there's one. If for one person it could be the greatest teacher of all time, for another person it could not work at all. It could be like the worst
Hmm.
teacher of all
Yeah.
time, and that makes you like feel like bad about yourself, or you hate the subject for the rest of your time, like living.
Hmm. Yeah. Hmm.
But that's once again plays into your whole perception of reality. You can
Yeah.
either, you could believe that, right? And
Hmm.
that is
Yeah.
the truth. You can believe that, oh, I'm not smart enough to do it. And that would be the truth because you believe it. Or you could
Yeah.
believe, I could try and I can
Hmm.
keep trying until I get it.
Yeah.
And that would
Hmm.
also be the truth if you believed it.
Yes.
And I personally, and why I say that so strongly as well, when I was younger and I hated school. I
Hmm.
hated school. I hated every
Yeah.
subject, all this stuff, and I hated math for so long. But in ninth grade, a teacher, I get like the first I get the first time I ever got an A in a math class, and
Yeah.
and the teacher wasn't even necessarily that great,
Yeah.
But she was like different from the other ones, I guess. But it just
Mhm.
mixed like better for me and stuff. And I'm like, oh, I can. This makes sense, you know. It's like
Yes.
once it
Yeah.
starts making sense, it's like nothing makes sense, not even sense itself, but everything else seems to
Mhm.
be rooted in sense and
Yeah.
logic.
Yeah.
And so it's like once you can kind of get behind, oh, there's a there's a I can come to make sense of it because it makes
Mhm.
sense because it is. I can make sense of it. Um, you know, like it really is just everyone's born completely ignorant, right? Everyone's
Yes.
born knowing absolutely nothing. The rest of it seems to either be no free will and it's all based up to conditioning and how events play out
Mhm.
and stuff, but it doesn't really seem like that's either. It seems like once
Yeah.
again, like the whole question of is it meaning and meaningless or is it
Mhm.
objective or subjective? It's a mix between the two. It's a mix
Yeah.
between everything being predestined, but also you having a say in it completely. And that's what the whole
Mhm.
kind of saying of do you have an external or an internal locus of control? And by locus,
Yeah.
I mean it's like external locus of control is that I have no control whatsoever. Everything's outside of my
Mhm.
control. Everything's gonna just happen, and I don't have any say in it. An internal locus of control is that I have, I can fully control how my, what I do in this life. I can completely
Mhm.
change, I can do whatever action I want, you know.
Yeah.
It took me my entire life to even have a taste of an internal locus of control, really.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
it's something I can like tap into now, like that. It seems like where it's like
Mhm.
I can have this just crazy drive and passion where it's like I want to say it's like a save the world kind of thing where it's
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
I know anyone has the potential to do it,
Yeah.
and that's one of the most empowering things you can come to get in life is that all these other great people in life, Albert Einstein,
Mhm.
all these like Martin Luther King Jr., everyone that's done for like stuff for civil rights, and
Mhm.
science and people and love alike and art, every single one of those people, all are like the same people as us. They're all the same human
Yeah.
beings. Everyone starts off knowing absolutely nothing.
Mhm.
And it's like, if it's possible to go for it, then you should go for it. Simply because
Yeah.
it's possible. The exact same reason why like one of the main reasons you say you continue to live is because
Yeah.
you are trying to figure it out because it might be
Yes.
possible. And that
Mhm.
in and of itself is a reason to keep living. And that is meaning. That is purpose. That is
Mhm.
beauty. That in and of itself, what it seems to be
Mhm.
like at least.
Yeah.
And so it's like and by no means is it easy, but it's like
Mhm.
the answer, I think, what you should keep doing from this point on is to keep doing
Yeah.
what you've been doing exactly so far, is to keep
Mhm.
thinking about it, is to keep questioning, to keep asking
Mhm.
questions, because
Yeah.
that's how we learn in the first place. If we never asked any questions when we were, I mean, first off, if we never asked any questions, we wouldn't be having this conversation at all.
Yeah.
We would,
Mhm.
we would just be doing what we're told, I guess. But even then, we wouldn't. It's, it's just, you know, um, and, because it's human nature as well to be curious, to ask questions, because that's how we grow,
Of course. Yeah.
and change, and everything's about change
Mhm.
as well.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, I think you are more than capable of
Mhm.
understanding that stuff. Like
Yeah.
I'm straight up. Like
Mhm.
there's so many people that like are, I don't know. There's people that are like common sense, like super stupid, but they can do crazy intelligent stuff. And then there are other people who get like
Course.
F's
Yeah.
and D's their entire time in school, and then they can go on
Mhm.
to get picked up by like an engineering company or whatever, and like be one of the best ones they've ever had, even though they fucking did terrible in school. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not just one way to be. It's not one version of intelligence. Everyone has
Yeah.
their own way to be intelligent, and
Mhm.
yeah, and I think you being able to talk about this stuff and understand it and think about this stuff
Yeah.
is enough of is enough of, well, proof. I mean, once again, you can't prove or disprove anything ever, like we were, you know, but but you get what I mean. That enough, like by itself is that I can't even words. I cannot English, but you get what I'm trying to say. You should 1000% go for it. If that is what, and like what motivates you, what makes you passionate, you should fully go after it. That's what life is really about, as far as we can tell, is what you're passionate about. That is precisely what you should fully chase after, and like don't let anything stop you from it. Because if you know within you, beyond words themselves or beyond what anyone tells you, if it's the right thing for you to go after, then it is. Simply because of that reason. But yeah. Yes. Because but yeah, also just to say as well, it's like I hated. Gosh, I keep all over the place, but I'm just very passionate. I love talking about this stuff, so I'm very glad we are having this conversation, because it's very epic. Like-minded person as well. I love talking to very smart people.
Big brain.
But what is it? But yeah, no. I was super fucking stupid, even in high school. Like I always felt like I was stupid, at least. But yeah, no, like I had like D's and F's in elementary school. My 4th grade teacher completely like super strict guy, but he completely changed how I viewed school for the first time, right? And then I go on to do like 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade math. I fucking hated it. Now, where I am right now today, I want to go back to school eventually to get a degree just in mathematics, because it's like the code of the universe, where it's like how you view the world. It's like you can view math to be annoying and like, oh, why do I even need this in day-to-day life and stuff? Or you can view it to be like, everything is so elegantly tied to math, you know, or whatever. So it's how you view it. It literally is about perception, exactly as you were saying. It is 1000% about how you perceive reality. That is what your reality is, you know. So it's like, you know, if your current perception is, oh, I have this experience where I know this shit happened, and I have no way to prove it to others. But the big thing, really, it's not so much about proving to others. It's more so about proving it to yourself. That is probably one of the, if like, you know, and that's kind of what it is for me too. Why I even ask these questions. I want to prove to myself. I want to find it. I want to figure it out. I want to explore it. I want to, you know, overcome it. You know, that is kind of like the heart of it all. Why we even try. And so, you know, you should, I think you should totally go for it if that's what you want to, you know. And but yeah, so proving it to yourself, you know, quantum mechanics, getting the physics, you could be the person that solves it. That's what's so crazy about it. One of the big revelation or epiphanies or whatever I had within just the last year, because not even the last year, like back in February, because I saw like I don't know, because that's when I just freaking passion filled somehow out of nowhere motivated myself to just, it just happened randomly. Like I just Google searched, like I was like, oh, I wonder if there's an online AI course I could take. I just Google it, and then I click the first link, and the next thing I know, I'm like signed up. I'm like, oh, first like free trial for a week. I'm like, oh, I can just try it out and see how it goes. I love the professor, and then next thing I know, 4 weeks of content within 4 days. I get my certificate for free, and I am so passionate about it. And like, I did all the extra stuff as well, like interviews and whatnot. And I'm so glad I watched those interviews they did with like the big AI, like, you know, innovators or whatever in the field. One of the things they said, it's like this one dude, Jeff Hinton, who literally is like the reason why AI even has taken off. Well, I mean, it's a lot of other people combined with him, but he's one of the big faces that brought AI back into circulation and to it being popular today. One of the smartest guys ever. back in like the 80s, he wanted to like,
Mhm.
he was like going to school and stuff his whole life. He wanted to understand how the human brain works, how it has consciousness, right? How we're anything, the same kind of questions we're asking. And then and then like no one was like teaching it and stuff in like the UK, and everyone thought he was crazy. Then he goes to California and everyone totally agrees with him, and he's like, what the hell, what is going on here? What the shit? Or like whatever. But yeah, and now is one of the, he's created so many crazy stuff, like the ReLU function, all that stuff that's used everywhere in AI now. Like all of that, it's like, but one of the things he said was that, he said, if you have good intentions, you should follow them fully and you'll be successful, right? If you're, or not intentions, if your intuition is good, if you have a good intuition, and meaning like whatever you do is like in a step towards the right direction, follow it fully and you'll be successful. If you have a bad intuition, it doesn't matter what you do, so you might as well try, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, and you don't know either way until you make it there, right? So it's like you might as well like follow it all the way through. And I'm like, damn, that kind of goes hard. So but yeah, and it's like true as well. It's like if you have bad intentions, it's like would you rather never try at all? It's like the whole kind of, it's analogous to the entire question in the first place. It's like, would you rather nothing have happened in the first place, or are you glad that things happened? And it's like, I'm glad things happen. I'm glad that I am something. Even though I don't know what it means, somehow I'm glad, you know. And that's kind of all we have to go off of. But what is it? But yeah, and then there's another dude that was like interviewed as well, and he was like saying how like one of the big revelations he had was like, where he like he's like worked with like so many great people now and stuff, but before he's like worked with all these great people, or actually no, it was like after he like worked with like all these crazy great minds and stuff, but then he came to like know them better and stuff, and he's like, you know, these people are all like just the same as me. And then like once you realize that we're all basically one and the same, we all have the same stuff to work with, we all are facing the same kind of like problems of being a human, like issues of being a human, and like psychedelic well, not psychedelic, mental crises, you know, and like philosophical crises, and we're all trying to figure all this out, no one knows the answer. We're all in the same situation, and we all were born knowing absolutely nothing. We're all in the same boat, and that means we also all have the same potential to do anything we really wish to do, really. So it's like, you know, if that is what you want to understand, then it's like, that is, once again, yes, that is the reason to exist, and that is why you should pursue it, because you want to pursue it, because you want to know. And yeah, and also because I think you're freaking wicked smart, and you totally could do it. So
maybe, I don't know. I feel like
you don't know until you try. You know? You don't know until you're there. So that's why you should go for it. You know. And yeah, and that's the thing is like I don't know, with like computer science as well, especially, it's like and or like if you actually do wind up pursuing like quantum mechanics and stuff in like college or wherever, you know, whatever you choose to do, one of the big it really is just don't give up. It might suck ass at first, but if it truly is what you're passionate about, if that truly is what you want to understand and figure out, then just keep following it. Just keep following that passion. Keep holding on to it. And sometimes you might be in a divot, you know, and you might feel terrible, and you know, and life's gonna, you know, because it's not like life's gonna just go up and up and up and be better and better and better when you keep following that, because it's you're always going to be under turbulence. You're always going to be facing the same kind, well, not the same kind of issues, but you'll have more and more knowledge to face it, you know, and like overcome it as well. So you're still growing, but you're also constantly challenged. But you also have, you know, have to ask yourself as well, it's like, would I rather have never been challenged to begin with? That's also seems to be like an intuitive no. You know, it's like, I'm glad I was challenged at the same time. So that's why if you can shape your perspective, your worldview, on reality to be like, this is a challenge and it's like challenge accepted kind of thing, you know, where it's like you realize it's like, oh, I'm actually glad I've been challenged because that's how I've grown in the first place, and look how far I've come, because I can look at myself in the past and cringe, at least for me anyways, you know. I'm sure like many other people as well, it's like, oh, it's, you know, or you look at like, it's like the infamous, oh, looking back at high school photos and like, oh my gosh, what the heck, you know, or whatever, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the same kind of thing, but just anything in general, it's like, wow, I used to be there, but look how far I've come.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's all because hardship is what
Yeah.
makes you stronger.
Yes.
And that's why it's like even more of a even more of a motive to challenge yourself even further. And that's that kind of what sent me down like the rabbit hole kind of thing, where it's like pain is an illusion kind of thing, as well.
Yeah.
Where it's like that too is like how you perceive pain, you know. And now it's like to the point where it's like that's why it's like there's just no need for fear at that point as well, because fear is to like avoid pain or whatever. But it's like, if you can just overcome fear, if you can overcome pain, if you can overcome this and that, just by keep doing what you're doing and just keep thinking about this stuff critically, then it'll just come naturally, because that just is pretty much the best answer we can come to right now, at least, you know. And it's like that's, you know, being a human in an absurd reality, very real. Sorry if I talk a lot, though. I just
No, you're good.
Yeah.
I like what you have to say. I value your words and your perspective a lot.
Likewise. It is very fun talking about this stuff.
Yes.
Very epic. But yeah. Also, a very, very particular song's playing out that resonates with the conversation.
Yeah.
But hold up. Like, you probably like this song a lot. But it's one of the, it's crazy, like right as we finished like talking about that stuff, that's why I went kind of quiet, because it said if you've never died, then you've never lived.
Yeah.
So I'm like, damn. That's kind of like, you know, that whole kind of like, it's too coincidental to be, you know, just a coincidence kind of thing. Like you were talking about the other time with like ghosts and all that stuff you can't explain, you know?
Of course, yeah.
No, like I totally, it's like, just like so many, it's casual in the sense that it's, once you open yourself up to it, you see it so often, but it's never casual in the sense that it's so weird, because it's ordinary, but it's also so out of the ordinary that it catches your attention every time, you know, kind of thing.
Yes.
Where it's, but just so awesome as well. But also like, almost like, for me, sometimes it's like, okay, I get it, you know? I'm like, I get the message, thank you. Or it's almost like, I don't know how to describe it, but you get it.
Yes.
But yeah. Super real. Also, damn. Oh wait, never mind. That's just how long I was in the VC for. I think we were like talking for like 2 hours though.
Oof, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Time really flies when we talk about stuff like
Yeah,
this.
I know, right? It's so, but I mean, then again, time is a construct, so I mean, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
True.
So real.
I love
time. There's a song I really wanna learn on acoustic. Hold up, let me send you it. It has just, you would absolutely adore the lyrics as much as I do, because it's literally all the shit we just talked about. But yeah, it's like one of the lyrics is time is what is it? Time is just a cosmic river we measure to make sense of where we're going. Like, that's one of the lyrics, and then there's another where it's like, hold up. It's just every single line in the song is so God is just the universe. Why is it not showing the lyrics? Okay. Yeah, are we born just to die and left the whole time wondering why the world is full of suffering? What makes it all worthwhile? Are we given just to take? Has it been a big mistake? Because if someone made up all this, I'd want to ask them why. That's what like the whole kind of song's about.
Yeah.
one of my favorite. Oh yeah, and then like the verse that quote is from, like the time one. I forgive myself, for I know now that desires burn down slowly, and time's a cosmic river we measure to make sense of where we're going. All of our collected egos grit their teeth, beg for freedom, suddenly in the form of our discomfort, until we learn the point is loving one another. So freaking epic.
Yeah.
But yeah, so real.
Yeah, I just looked through the lyrics. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's so freaking epic. That's why
Yeah.
that's why I want to learn on the because it's like
Yeah.
I love playing guitar, but I never like find the. That's the thing is like it's like I never find the time, but it's like I have so much available time. It's more so just, and then when I say that, then I'm like, oh, I realize I'm like, oh, it's more so I just need to initiate. I need to be more initiative. I need to just do it, you know, because once I start doing it, then that's what's really epic. Because like a week ago or something, like I just randomly picked it up, and the next thing I know, I'm playing it for like 2 hours, you know.
Yeah.
And like I got better at Kian or Keen's, however you want to pronounce their name, somewhere only we know. Like I know all the lyrics and stuff, and I'm getting better at, because I can play the song start to finish with just the chords, but I'm just trying to get better at like timing the lyrics while I sing and play, stuff like that. But but yes. Oh, also, I absolutely adore this artist as well. And this song makes me like fucking cry whenever I listen to it. But yeah, it is very epic. Buckethead's music, it's crazy because half his music is like the craziest, most awesome sounding like guitar shredding of all time, and the other half of his music is like the most beautiful melodies ever fucking conceived on a guitar.
Yeah.
But and I saw him live with my dad in like last September as well, and their music is like it was, even my dad said it was not even like a concert, it was more like a theatrical performance. And that is like such a great way to put it. He like wears a mask, has a bucket on his head, and for like 2 decades now, 2+ decades, for how long he's been performing, he has never like said a word. That's the thing.
Oh, wow.
His music has vocals. Other than like vocals from other featuring artists, you know, and whatnot. But Buckethead doesn't talk, and he wears like this white mask, you know, and stuff. You don't see his face. And when I saw him live as well, that's what's so nuts. That is the first like performance period I've seen where it just starts with him playing, ends with him playing, no words spoken from anyone on the stage. No words. He comes out and he's just going crazy, and then goes into beautiful music, just perfect transitions and everything, and then just takes his leave. And it's
beautiful.
Oh my gosh. Just so freaking awesome. But yeah. Very, very epic. Very epic as well. I haven't been listening to him as much because I kind of got burned out because I listened to him so much like last year.
Yeah.
But eventually I'm going to probably go through another phase where I just listen to his stuff like crazy again. Stuff. As you can see in the reel as well, he's like the second #1 artist I have listened to other than Gus. And, yeah. Very real. But yeah. Very epic. And then the third listen to artist is Ultra Q, which is the song that I sent as well, Kaiju and stuff. It's so annoying though, Oliver Tree's in my #4, but I haven't listened to him in like 5 years. Because Oliver Tree is such a sellout now. That's why I kind of want to just remove him from my list, because he's such a like piece of shit now. But I used to, he was my #1 like artist from like 2016 to like 2020, I would say. So I was like he was underground then. That's the thing, is once that's another big reason why I'm so against like TikTok, is like so many of my favorite artists, most specifically Oliver Tree, when he got TikToked up, he got TikTokified, what blew him up was also my least favorite song from him ever. His most popular song is also his shittiest song in my position. You know that life goes on and on and on. You know that fucking song?
Yeah.
It is the most annoying song from him ever, and it's also his most popular one. And then he made like 30 remixes of it, and then he keeps making, now he only makes garbage that sounds similar to it. And I'm like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
But if you listen to his old stuff, or even his stuff from like 2013, it is just chef's kiss, like straight up.
Yeah.
Not all his songs, because progressively as time went on, he got more and more lazy with his music. But his old stuff is just it's so good. But what is it? Well, not like so good, but like this is pretty good, or at least for me, anyways, because I'm biased. But like that's so good. But what is it? But yeah, very lame. TikTok. Now he has like a bajillion million listeners, and they all listen to 2 songs from him and not any of his other stuff, so they're not real fans in my opinion. That's the same thing with like so many artists with TikTok shit. They'll listen to like 2 songs like a bajillion times, and it'll have like 230 million plays worldwide, but no one listens to any of their other music. And I'm like, dog, seriously? That's the whole reason why I was like about the whole gatekeep stuff. It's like so many people don't understand the true beauty of it or respect it enough. But now I've kind of come to more of an understanding where it's like, let it happen, because I can't really control it happening, but I can control me spreading my message, I guess, more and more, like I keep doing. Just, it's not even like my message, it's just like in my opinion at this point, it's just the blatant obvious just truth, because it's just the best thing you can really come to realize through logic is just, hey, I don't know, shit's crazy, pretty much. Shit's absurd, lol, in a nutshell. But also like respect stuff, and also everything is art, everything's beautiful, and MFs shouldn't be just shitting on these beautiful works or whatever, I guess. It just doesn't do the artist justice, in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say. Not just for music as well, it's just all kinds of different things of art. It just annoys me. But I also gotta not be annoyed. Because I don't want to always be annoyed, because it's also not a great way to be. Because also worrying about shit you can't control is just stupid. But we do it anyways, because that's also human. But it's also human to not do that. It's human to do anything, really. But yeah. Very real.
Indeed.
What was I gonna... Oh, yeah. Hold up. Let me, like, There's, a certain thing I made with, like, an old Oliver Tree song. But if you, like, listen to it, you would... Like, especially, like, the intro and shit, you would not expect, like, an Oliver Tree song to probably sound like this. But you can tell his voice and shit, but... Certified moment.
Yes.
But yeah. So real. Because he used to do a lot more, like, hip-hop and rap. Now he just does pop. Now he's like Drake. He's literally like Drake. Or it's like, it's not hip-hop, but it's just pop.
It's so sad.
It's so goofy.
Wow.
Yeah. Certified momento.
Sounds really good. I'm surprised.
Yeah, it's a freaking Oliver. That was his music in 2013.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, so even before he started somewhat taking off, because when he like his first song on Spotify is 2016. So even before that, like it's well, actually technically he's on his old stuff's on Spotify, but it's under a different name, and like no one, I hope, knows about it yet. Okay, yep, no one still really knows about it, but it's this this account. He goes on, his old name was Mr. Tree, but like he even looks so different in the picture.
Yeah.
It's fucking insane. But yeah, only 61K monthly listeners. Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Wait a second, oh my fucking god. I just now, he fucking dude.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm saying, dude. Like, how is this Oliver... or was this, I guess. Or maybe perhaps still is Oliver Tree. Like just such cool freaking art. Like this is what I like loved his stuff for. It's just so
Yeah.
real. But now he's pretty goofy. Pretty goofy, I say. But it is okay as well. Soul Mother, dude, I might make that shit my new profile picture. Like, not even shitting. This freaking EP is so cool.
No fucking way! I just finished the power washing simulator campaign.
Seriously?
Oh my god. Yeah, I just
Damn.
did. Lol.
That's so real. Holy shit.
I love power wash simulator.
It has like a ton of lore or something, right?
It does. Yeah, it was extremely strange, you know, aliens and shit.
Oh yeah, yeah. I saw
It's kind of goofy.
like a long time ago. I saw like a video on Game Theory about it, and yeah, it was like
Yeah.
just a lot of crazy shit. I'm like, oh okay.
Why does this game have lore?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not complaining. It's interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
I've never played it, but I'm like, if I were gonna make a power wash, I'd probably put hella crazy shit in there. You know.
Yes, yeah.
Expect the
Funny.
unexpected. You know, type shit.
Yeah.
Because life is about the non-ordinary, and there's another channel like I've been rewatching a lot more of again. It's called like Yes Theory or whatever, but they just travel the world and do all the shit that I kind of want to do, where you just talk to strangers pretty much, and like their merch, like one of the main like merch line is like called like Seek Discomfort, which I'm like, yeah, that is such a real saying. And they'll have like shirts that just says talk to strangers, or they have this other hat where it's like, stranger, I hope you're having an awesome day, from like love another stranger or some shit. Like it just has like a lot of cool stuff like that. And yeah, like this video I like saw recently, where they went to like China or whatever, and they started off like in the video where they were like kind of like freaked out and nervous and stuff because like everyone was saying like don't go to China or whatever, don't go in there because it's like, you know, because it's communist and stuff, and they go there and it's like I literally was like crying just like how freaking how wholesome it was, because like like I could even send you like the video because it's just like oh my gosh, they were also known for scalping. Bro, what the frick did this guy just comment on my shit? Okay, never mind. What is it? That just fucking cleared my mind. That's such a weird comment. Frick, what was I talking about? I actually don't remember what I was talking about. Do you remember what I was saying?
These two guys like going to China, and it's all about, like,
those guys on Yes Theory, yeah. That's why I even checked my phone, because I was gonna go find the video so I can send them. But that's nuts. That's also another crazy thing about human beings. I could just fucking forget, just immediately. Like how does that make any sense? Like that doesn't even make sense to just instantly forget.
It happens like a lot to me, because there's times where I'm like having like a super good cry about something. I'm so sad, and then the next second I'm like, man, what was I crying about?
Yeah.
Like, how is just that happen?
It's freaking nuts.
Like fucking Nemo.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Where's
I should watch Finding Nemo. I feel like I've never seen those films.
Oh, you never watched Finding Nemo?
Nope.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, maybe I did at some point, like as a child, maybe in like class or something, but I just completely forgot.
Yeah.
Are they like good films, like for kids?
Yeah, I'd say they're pretty good.
Or like,
I think they're good for like people of all ages, because it's very good message.
Yeah.
Very cool. But yeah, it was this video, but I literally it's so like I'll just like I wouldn't even say cry over the silly things, but it's just like I just straight up like it's just still like touched me. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
You know, like and it actually generally did change like how I viewed. I'm like, because it's like one of the things one of the guys said was like, you can't base a whole country off of just like one way when it comes to the people, about like humanity and stuff.
Yeah.
Because anywhere you go, no matter what country you go to, there's always going to be just like these beautiful, like wholesome, super friendly people. And that's exactly like who was in the video, you know? It's just like, they're just like us, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what we need to keep reminding ourselves. It's like
Mhm.
it's not like, oh, evil China and everyone's out to get you and stuff over there, whatever. It's like, dog, um, it's literally just another place to live. It's just another like
No, yeah.
happy little place, you know. And it's like this fear put into average Americans and stuff because I mean, you know, the propaganda, not.
Mhm.
But literally, China's also like such a nice place to live. It seems like, with like a lot of the stuff. I mean, obviously there's impoverished places there, but there's also
Of
hella
course.
impoverished places in America too. That's the thing. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
there's also really mistreated people all throughout America, and like so many, the homeless population is in the millions, and it keeps growing here. Like we have I think we have the worst like homeless problem. I'm pretty sure, or some shit like that, if not one of the worst problems in the world. Um, and especially we have the highest incarceration rate as well, the most amount of people in prison, for example,
Yeah, yeah.
and the highest reincarceration rate, aka our system doesn't work at all because people just go back into
Yeah.
prison and do more worse shit because they're so used to being treated like animals. It's not how you should treat them.
Mhm.
It should be more like how in Norway, where they have like a 10%
Yeah,
incarceration rate
yeah.
compared to like our 75%
Mhm.
because they treat them like actual human beings and they're able to leave. They have their own room. It's like a hotel room, and they like
Yeah, yeah.
take them through therapy and stuff, which is what they do need if they want to be like an actual citizen in
Mhm.
society. You need to treat
Yeah.
them not like a fucking terrible monster because that's how they're gonna act.
Yeah.
But if you treat them like a human being, they're gonna act like a human being, and that's what they need
Mhm.
to be reminded is that they're loved and cared for, and that they what they really want is they don't want to be like that. They want to change and be able to, you know, whatever they did
Yes.
wrong. I don't know, but yeah, stuff like that.
Mhm.
But yeah, the video, it's like there's like this. They have like a translator with them, and she's like an actual like native there, and she's like she actually lives there and stuff. And it's like,
Mhm.
and she was saying as well how it's like so normal for her to just see, where she was saying she doesn't get the American perspective because she's so used to just seeing everyone everywhere she goes as being. Not just in China, but like all around the world, is we're all the same. We're all the same
Mhm.
people, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you, whatever. But yeah, but yeah, I don't even want to say like the rest of, but yeah, pretty much you can, if you want to watch the video sometime, you totally can. But yeah, just very wholesome, and you'll see what I mean by like the start. It's like tense, and then it goes
Mhm.
on to being like, oh, this is awesome. And there's another video as well that's like kind of the same way where it's like tense, where Turkmenistan. Like, have you ever heard anything about Turkmenistan before?
No, like
Exact.
nothing.
I've never heard anything about it either. And yet, if you watch this video, they have such a freaking cool culture that I had
Yeah, yeah.
never even ever heard about before. And it's like it's
Mhm.
amazing to me where it's like here I was, I thought like I knew all the different religions in the world already. I knew all the different cultures and all
Yeah,
the different
yeah.
countries. Turkmenistan is one of the most interesting freaking countries ever, and I never knew anything about them before. That's what's so
Yeah,
nuts is that
yeah.
it's still more things to learn. It seems like. And it's just, oh my gosh, like their country's, oh, so freaking cool. But yeah, I'd recommend
Mhm.
that video as well.
Yes.
But yeah, Turkmenistan is like one of the hardest countries to get into, apparently.
Oh wow.
But they're also, it's so, but it's like you'd think that they're like an authoritarian or like dictatorship,
Mhm.
whatever thing. I think they kind of are that, but at the same time, they like declared independence from the Soviet Union in like the 90s or some shit. So like
Yeah.
a lot of it's like brand new, and the same thing with like China as well. There's like so many brand new like buildings and stuff, and like when you think about it, like in that video as well about China, they were talking about like what is it? How China's like so insanely massive, where it's like they were like, oh, there's like 1 point something billion people, and then another dude in there was like, that point something is a bigger population than the entire U.S. You know,
Mhm,
where
yeah.
the U.S. is like 360 million people, China's 1.4 billion. So that
Yeah,
they were
yeah.
like 1 point something billion, but the point something they is literally in the entirety of the United States.
Mhm.
And so it's like it's just nuts. It's just so
Yeah.
crazy big of like a country. It's like, oh my gosh, so many people there.
Mhm.
Like that's the, I mean, it's the, it's the biggest freaking country by population in the entire world. But I mean, you know what I mean? It's crazy, many
Mhm.
freaking people. And I was here thinking, oh my god, 360 million people in America is freaking insane. and it is. It like I think in general it's an overpopulation problem, but still, that's another can of
Yeah.
worms.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, very real.
Indeed, very real.
Swag. Very swag.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Mm. Right, one thing I wanted to complain about is this is like nothing interesting at all, but I had like a very old friend of mine, and he introduced me to absurdism. He called it, well, not necessarily. He said that he was an absurdist, and he got his idea of absurdism from I'm not even kidding. It was like a 9-minute YouTube video. And it was so like bro, like he was just a positive nihilist, you know, and he didn't like when I read um Albert Camus, I was like, this is great, you know, I'm gonna talk to him about this, and he was like, what are you saying? And he disagreed with like all of the
What?
fundamental aspects of absurdism, despite saying that he was an absurdist. And it's like, oh my god, like he just, you know, yeah, he wasn't very well read, and
Damn.
like it angers me to this day, even though I don't even speak to him anymore.
Mhm.
It's like, why? You know, why?
Yeah. What the frick?
Yeah. Yeah, it was annoying.
9-minute YouTube video moment. Same thing as like the TikTok like mainstream
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Horrible.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. Hopefully now he will take that as an incentive to read up more on it. Hopefully. Maybe. Also, this is a it's so funny. I've literally only seen like 3 videos from them like recently. I like subbed to them like ages ago, like years ago, but I'm like just now like really starting to watch them again. This video also made me cry like crazy because it's just so freaking wholesome. That's what's like so nuts. It's like, oh my, I think all 3 of these videos made me cry. Like, but in like the good way. It's freaking it's so funny. But yeah, no, this video, like I can't even like say anything because it'll spoil it, because it's like, but yeah, no, this video is so awesome, and I want to meet this guy in real life too, like the taxi driver they had. He's like the sweetest guy on planet Earth. Like, it's like a movie, because it's, but it also goes by so fast because it's like, oh, it's so epic, so awesome, so wholesome, and it's like not even. That's what's so cool about their stuff is like it's not a movie though, it's real life. You know? Yeah. It's just strangers. Yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to go do this as well now, so badly, more than ever. I already wanted to do it, but now I want to do it more, you know.